What I have got for you now is actually going to blow you away because she is incredible, a real phenomenon. She is an award-winning writer, director, filmmaker. She produced a film very recently on Channel 4, on demand. It's available, and she's incredible. So, Lessa Gazi, I'm going to welcome to the couch. Welcome.
Thank you
it's
so
so
much
great
for having me. Thank you. I was a bit embarrassed by hearing
by my introduction. It wasn't enough. It wasn't enough. Honestly, you are such a trailblazer and a real cutting-edge person because you really are at the top of your game, and in an area there are not a lot of Asian women who represent. So, you know, I'm really pleased to have you on.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. So, just tell me a little bit about yourself, Lessa, because I know your career is so vast, but how did you even, come into this whole area of writing and filmmaking?
Filmmaking is absolutely a new thing for me, but writing and in a theatre profession, that is where I belong. Mm-hmm. So I used to do theatre in Bangladesh.
Amazing.
And I was attached with one of the pioneering theatre group, Nagorik Natya Sampraday. So when I left Bangladesh, there was no, institutional education on theatre. What we used to do is we used to be affiliated with a theatre company, and we learn from the space, doing everything, sweeping to acting.
Wow.
That kind of thing. So that is a amazing. It gave me that that start,
yeah.
That platform. And when I came here, I was worried that I won't be able to do theatre in mainstream because we did theatre in Bangladesh.
Yes.
But I used to write. Also, I'm a playwright. So in I think 2008, there was an opportunity came up, and it was at Tara Arts. Right. Now it's Tara Theatre.
Tara Theatre, yes.
And in Tara Arts, they were doing a displacement month, and they were looking for theatres, bilingual theatres, bilingual plays, and I wrote. And adapted a play. It's called Sonata, and it was written by Mohesh Alkonchar, but I adopted it, and the director was Mukul Ahmed, and that was my first in mainstream theatre as a performer and a playwright.
Wow.
And after that, I didn't have to. It started my career.
That's when you made your mark
in theatre. So since then, I am in theatre industry in the UK. But filmmaking came much later.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, did you find it very different, like UK theatre compared to Bangladesh theatre?
Absolutely. But the passion, the love has been more there. It's not. But the professionalism, we don't have that in Bangladesh.
Right.
We don't have a professional theatre even now. But love, passion, time, dedication, sacrifice,
wow.
it's all there.
The foundations are there.
Absolutely,
the foundations are there.
absolutely.
So you recently you wrote a film, and I know when I was talking to you earlier, not only did you write this film, I mean, I think it's so amazing, you even wrote a lot of the lyrics of the songs in the film too, which is amazing. So, I mean, that was just beautiful. I've watched it. Congratulations. It's such a wonderful film.
Thank you.
It really is.
Thank you.
And, if any of our viewers who don't know, of course, it's available on Channel 4.
Yes.
On demand.
Yes.
And when is it streaming until?
It's streaming until the 12th of October, but it will come back again next year.
Fantastic.
But for this year,
Yep.
It's ending on the 12th of October.
Okay,
Yeah.
don't miss it, because it's brilliant. So a very brief sort of storyline, and with the synopsis, it's obviously about Deepa, independently minded Bangladeshi woman who is pushed into a marriage, who comes to the UK. and suffers at the hands of a quite abusive husband, and yet she still triumphs, and she beats the system, and she carves her own sort of path of independence. She's an incredible character. What was the inspiration behind Deepa?
Women. I mean, women, and the women I saw, I grew up with, and I around me. This story is very personal to me because I was a divorcee in the 90s Bangladesh.
Right.
And what I went through, most of the divorcee women at that time,
of course,
had gone through that. The collective shame and judgment, and when women who are divorcee and they are seen as failures.
Yes.
So that kind of thing, and the stigma attached to divorced women is unbelievable. They
Absolutely.
are made outcast in their own homes and society.
Yeah.
But I also saw women who did not accept what was decided for them,
Yep.
and move on and struggle to the way they want to live their life.
Right.
So that is also I saw. So I wanted to tell those stories, the women who did not accept what was decided for her, and also did not accept did not accept to bear the shame.
Yeah.
That was imposed on them.
Right.
So yeah.
And it's ironic, isn't it? Because you see in Deepa a woman who, she's not outwardly confident in the sense that she challenges everything. That's not her,
no.
And that's what I found really moving, because actually she tries to do everything in the way that she's been told.
Good girl.
The good girl, right?
Yes.
That's it. And we, as women, we experience that, being that good girl. But actually you realize that in those spaces that she will not accept what's not correct, what's not right, and she understands that. Deep down, she knows what's wrong, what's right, and she will not accept that. And it was so moving when you see how adored she is. From the boy at the coffee shop to the widower, to of course Baru, and and even her relationship with her father. Even though he's not necessarily strong and supporting her and vocal, that love between them as well. And you see the way that she manages still to overcome and not become a victim. Because I would never say that she's a victim,
Absolutely
despite everything
not.
she suffered.
No.
Right?
And her relationship with Julekha.
Yes. It's beautiful.
The housemaid. When we see these women, surrounding us, we find that sisterhood.
Yes.
We
strength.
Absolutely, and we kind of gather that strength from one another, and that is what I tried to show, because there is a very common sayings, that women are the worst enemies of women.
Yes.
We love to say that.
Yes.
But
Unfortunately.
Where does it come from?
Right.
Where did those animosity or those feelings, those emotions towards another woman, where is it coming from?
Yes.
It comes from the society. Yeah. And it comes from our patriarchal society, and
Absolutely.
we live in that society.
Yeah.
So we kind of absorb all the things that affect women from patriarchal
Absolutely.
society, and we absorb that too.
Yes.
And project to another woman.
Yes.
So these things we get to hear, but we don't go deeper that
Right.
where these notions are coming from, and we need to challenge those notions.
We do, and you see that when it's when the film obviously switches between Bangladesh and the UK, and ironically, it's the females, in particular one of the women who helps Deepa, to escape, and you see that sisterhood there. It doesn't matter if it's Bangladesh or here.
No.
It's the female essence that is keeping them, safe, which was really quite beautiful to see, actually.
Thank you.
And in talking about the difference in setting, so when I watched it, I felt like your movie had such an old kind of cinematic quality to it. And it reminded me of, the sort of golden era of movies that we watched when we were younger. The music, the shooting of it, it was just so beautifully done. What was the sort of thinking behind that? Were you trying to replicate that kind of thing? What were you trying to do when you created that?
I created what I was part of that world,
Yes,
right?
of course.
I came to the UK. I moved to the UK in 1999. So I lived that period, mid 90s. Late 80s to mid 90s. That period I know in my body, you know, in my memory, in
breathe
my
it and you live
psyche.
it.
I carry that
Yes.
with me. Though I have been living here for more than 20 years in the UK, but I still think in Bangla.
Right.
I still, when I am very emotional, that is my expression.
Yes, of course.
And I think that, you know, the way I can tell stories about women of my generation, of the women I know, I don't think I'll be able to tell stories from here.
Yes.
You know, because of the connection I have with Bangladesh, its soil, its land, its music, its food. Though this is my adopted country and I love it
Yes.
to bits, but I don't have that connection
Yeah.
with it. So when I think of making a theater or a movie, very naturally, those stories come across.
And I think that, you know, because they are your lived memories,
Mm-hmm.
you know, things that you really connected to when you were younger, that authenticity really comes across. Because I felt myself believing this world, you know, I felt myself almost in Bangladesh, wanting to sit next to her, talk to her, you know, and feel those kind of things. And part of that, I felt like, you know, it was because it was so stripped back. The movie was very much focused on the narrative.
Yeah.
You know, there were no real gimmicks. There were no sort of stage, like, you know, all of that was stripped back and it was raw, you know, which was so refreshing. You know, I'm a massive moviegoer and I love watching movies. So for me, it just felt very, as I said, you know, beautifully created. How long does a film like that take to make?
I mean, from writing the script to finishing the film, it took less than 3 years.
Right.
But there, I mean, we shot during COVID, so we had to stop filming or delayed the filming here. So that's why it took a longer time. But
Right.
I think 2 years is a good
Wow.
good time to make a movie.
I mean, it just feels like it would take forever, you know, to even think of all the different decisions that you must go through. What was the highlight when you were filming? Is there a moment where you really...
There are so many. There are so many. Because, you know, we are independent filmmakers. We don't have that kind of budget.
Right.
So we had to kind of improvise and look for ways to do things, you know, the way we can afford.
Right.
So that kind of thing, and the way the entire team came together, that was very special. Because you know, someone was in the company was telling me, in my crew was telling me that when you see a crew member
Yes.
getting involved in the storyline,
Yep.
asking you what is next,
Yes.
you know that this is working.
Absolutely.
And on the third day, we were like, we could see the crew member from lighting department to sound department to you know, to photography department. They were really excited about what's going on.
It's that invested curiosity, isn't it?
Yeah. And then we were like, we knew that it's something special, maybe.
No,
Maybe.
and it certainly was. It certainly was. I know you've spent a large part of your career giving a voice to women, you know, and you touched upon it earlier on. Why was this so important to you? I mean, you're so talented, Lisa, you could write about anything, but why in particular did you decide to give a voice to sort of voiceless women?
Why not?
Yeah, of course.
Why not? And another thing that we are used to watch films and theaters about women
Yes.
from a male gaze. You know, male writer, male director.
Yep.
They are good. They are very good. Some of them I love, but the way a female writer can write about a female perspective, it's not possible. I can't write a male perspective.
No.
And this is how it has been happening, that women's stories are told by men.
Absolutely.
That's why we can't resonate. We can't relate to them.
And that's probably the truth that you're bringing out, isn't it? Because as a female writer, from your perspective, your memories, your lived experience, you're able to give that voice in a far more believable, authentic way. And I found myself, like your crew members, watching the film and at the end thinking, what happens next? I want to know the next bit. So what does happen next? Does she take Parul? What's their next experience?
Who knows?
Is there a sequel coming out?
Her struggle hasn't. She's still on that journey.
Yes.
So so that like any woman's life, and my passion is to tell stories from women's perspectives, because there are so many stories I would like to tell. I don't think I will be able to tell in my lifetime. There's no way. But there's so many, because it's still niche, isn't it?
Yes.
That women's stories are told by women.
Yep.
Are still rare.
Absolutely.
And that is so sad.
It really is. But Lisa, thank you for giving women a voice and for creating such a beautiful film. There's so much more that I want to talk to you about. But unfortunately, we're running out of time.
Always.
Again, will you come back and join us another time?
Why not? Of course, I loved it.
I've loved having you here. Thank you for joining me on the couch
me.
today. So we're going to finish off with a beautiful song, and I tried to choose something that kind of resonates with some of the amazing music in your movie.
Can I say my music director is Sohini Alom and Oliver Weeks,
Of course.
They did magic in the film, and my co-screenwriter and protagonist Anand Siddika. Hats off to her.